Coming up next on PWR Feedback Friday, what are our thoughts on the next inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame? What did you have to say in response to Feedback Friday and Primetime last week? All the answers and more right now on Feedback Friday for March 4th, 2016.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Feedback Friday, brought to you by the PWR Now Network, where you can get access to 8 great podcasts, including The Hotline with me and Gene Okerlund, the Double D podcast, a new episode dropping this week on our podcast, David and David, that's the Double D, if you will. PWR Reaction and the audio versions of all of our shows, including this one, Feedback Friday, and PWR Primetime. You can subscribe for free right now at pwrshow.com. Also available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and as I said, pwrshow.com. But with that, folks, Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Hero on Friday, March 4th, 2016, and it's the Feedback Friday, the Friday Night Delight.
Ides of March, isn't it?
It's the what?
Ides of March?
What do you mean?
I don't know. It's a hashtag I've been seeing a lot lately.
Did you see the president yesterday? He was here in Milwaukee.
I did. I saw him leaving. It was fantastic.
So yes. You saw Air Force One take off, or did you see the motorcade?
No. Well, first of all, I knew he was in town because of all the streets were being shut down.
Yep,
and
got to protect them.
Flatbed trucks all over the place.
I'm sorry?
Flatbed trucks.
Why?
I have no idea. I thought you would know.
What?
Why do you think
I've seen many a presidential motorcade, and I've not seen flatbed trucks in them.
Well, no, not in the motorcade, but on all the different side streets, like lots of flatbeds. It's weird.
Let's get to it, folks, and let's go to this week's top story here on Feedback Friday. WWE announced the next entrance into the 2016 Hall of Fame class this week, and it is the fabulous Freebirds, David Hero. The fabulous Freebirds.
You know what? It is long overdue. I mean, Dallas is the exact best place to put the Freebirds in.
Let's give some historical perspective. I know we saw a little bit of it on Raw this past Monday night, but world-class championship wrestling out of Dallas, Texas at the Sportatorium. I know we grew up watching it on Super 18 here in Milwaukee when it would air on Saturday mornings, but that was where the Freebirds really came into worldwide knowledge, I would say, even in that little Texas promotion, if you will, with the Von Erichs or whatnot. But Michael P.S. Hayes, Terry... Relatively speaking.
I mean, WCCW was worldwide. World Class was worldwide.
Terry Bam Bam Gordy.
Yes.
The fabulous Freebirds were
Jack Roberts.
They were I think they were really the definition of a more than two-man tag team group, at least initially, because you never knew which two you were going to get.
It was the first real threesome in all professional wrestling.
I'm sorry?
It was the first a threesome tag team. Yes. In all professional wrestling. And that's where the Freebird rule came into play, so many other times. But, I mean, you talk about great feuds in professional wrestling. You can talk about, Savage and Steamboat, or Steamboat and Flair, Hogan and Piper, Austin and Rock. Von Erichs and Freebirds is right up there with all of them.
It carried that company for a number of years, that feud.
And it traveled everywhere. It was great business.
So now we've got the recently announced fabulous Freebirds.
Yes.
We've got Sting, who was the initial announcement, and last week's announcement was the Godfather. This is one heck of a class, David Hero.
It is a very clashing class.
A clashing
because
cast.
You have the icon Sting.
The icon.
Okay, who WCW NWA was built on. Then you have the Godfather, and I'm not too sure how he really fits in all of that quite yet into the Hall of Fame. Still trying to figure out.
Well, do you still think he's going to use the Divas as his whores, as you said last week?
No.
When you called the Divas whores?
Hoe train. I never called them whores.
Yeah, you did. I asked you the difference between a hoe and a whore. You said a whore is a hoe is a garden tool.
It's a garden tool, and a whore is what you would see in a scary movie. Right? And then you have the fabulous Freebirds, who it's one of the greatest tag teams, factions of all time. I mean, the Freebirds changed pro wrestling. They were one of the very first people to ever have rock and roll music and all that flashy entrance and whatnot. And those guys could talk and go. And you know what? Here's the amazing thing, because the world of pro wrestling, it's so cosmetic right now.
Yeah.
Would the Freebirds, would Terry Gordy and Buddy Jack Roberts be on a roster right now?
No, not at all.
Especially
Terry Gordy, who was one of the toughest men wrestling,
but didn't have big men ever.
Cosmetically, didn't look the part.
No. Interesting. It's going to be, and then of course there's gorgeous Jimmy Jam Garvin.
Yes.
Which I'm very happy.
He was my favorite.
Shocked to see him in there because when you think of the Freebirds, you don't think of Jimmy Jam Garvin at all. But very cool, and it's going to be a very interesting acceptance speech by Michael P.S. Hayes.
It will be. What is he going to wear is the question. What will his tuxedo be like?
He is going to be absolutely obnoxious.
Will there be a fanny pack?
Has to be. Has to be.
Folks, the Hall of Fame is on Saturday, April 2nd, the night before WrestleMania. I assume we're going to see.
No. It's the night after the Shenanigans party.
It is indeed the night after the Shenanigans party. But I assume we're going to see one or two more names added to the class of 2016.
Well, there's a lot of rumors. Of who's going to be in there.
Well, on the most recent episode of the Hotline with Mean Gene Okerlund on the PWR Now Network, he gave you what he thought would be the class, and he's dead on so far. So he's got the other names, I think.
He does know.
It's too hot for TV, folks.
Yes, it is.
Feedback Friday returns in 30 seconds right here at PWRshow.com with your comments on last week's shows, including Feedback Friday, David, here. I know you're looking forward to those comments, aren't you?
Yes.
And details on our special guest joining us tomorrow night on Primetime when we begin the March to Mania.
PWR is on the road to WrestleMania, and we're bringing total coverage of the event. It all starts with PWR March to Mania, as we welcome a WWE Hall of Famer to primetime TV every week. Road Warrior Animal joins us March 5th, followed by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on March 12th. And then, the most famous voice in wrestling, Jim Ross, joins us March 19th and 26th. Watch PWR Primetime every Saturday at 10 p.m. on television, PWRshow.com, and Fight TV for the March to Mania, leading up to our special edition of Primetime from Dallas on April 2nd. Get more details now at PWRshow.com. PWR, the best gets better.
Hi everybody, this is good old JR Jim Ross, WWE Hall of Famer, and you're watching Damon Nelson and David Hero on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Welcome back to Feedback Friday here at PWRshow.com. Damian Nelson and David Hero, and you got this. What are you doing?
Hold on, I'm getting notes from the truck.
Why would they be giving you notes?
Because I keep this show flowing.
So what are they saying?
They're saying, roll it.
Folks, last week on Feedback Friday, we took a look at whether or not WWE was returning to a form of attitude from one of the most successful eras of wrestling. Even though this week's very tame Raw, seemed to prove us wrong, several of you had a few comments to share with us on YouTube, and here they go. And our first comment comes from a YouTube user by the name of JD Venom, who says, can fans just let go of the Attitude Era? I lived during the Attitude Era. I loved it, but it's time to let it go. A lot of people talking about, we got to get back to the Attitude Era, got to go back to what we know, got to go back to what was successful, but WWE has not done that.
Much like people want to see the Michael Jordan era back in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It was the
Washington Wizards version or the...
No, the Chicago Bulls. Got it. Okay? And Attitude Era will never again be replicated, duplicated, anything.
Here's one interesting thing to share about the Attitude Era. It wasn't so much what the programming was, well, that was a huge part of it, by the way, but it was the depth of the talent on the roster at the time that made it work.
It was also something extremely different. I mean, we went from Hulk Hogan, train, say your prayers, eating your vitamins, to suck it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was a completely different demographic, genre, whatever you want to call it. Monday Night Raw and Nitro was the start of reality television, if you really think about it. Scripted reality shows.
Yeah.
It was Raw and Nitro.
Thank you very much for those comments, that comment, and also, though...
He's also adding something, too.
No, I'm adding something else.
You are.
It appeared as if your feelings were hurt by some of your comments last week, by some of their comments last week. So... Some people actually came running.
They can't hurt my feelings.
It seemed like they did. You had tells, and afterwards, when I went to the truck, they were a little concerned.
I'm kind of like Trumpish. I'm Teflon. It's not going to stick. I can let it go.
You don't sound like Trump at all because you're not repeating yourself and saying gibberish that can be considered racist and inflammatory.
Well, I'm not racist.
That's what I just said. You don't sound like Trump at all by doing that. I'm more of a, okay, if you could be Trump, I'll be Mitt Romney. How about that?
Why can't you be Ben Carson?
Why should I be Ben Carson?
He's in fourth place.
The first comment comes from a user by the name of Animals07, who says, and I quote, I respect Hero and Nelson for their opinions. I don't understand how fans feel disrespected by Hero. We have disagreed on certain things like CM Punk, but I will say he knows more than I do because he works in the business. I have ideas that I think would be better for wrestling companies, but who's to say they would work out for the best? Great to have PWR back, and I'm very happy.
Well, that was a very pleasant comment.
It was.
You know what? And here's why.
Did you strong arm the interns?
No, I just paid them off. Listen, here's the thing.
Go ahead, Hunter.
Why am I Hunter? I've been saying here's the thing way before him. Remember the radio days? Here's the thing.
I try to forget those days. Back when you said Cody Rhodes sucks.
Well, I did say that.
Yes, you did.
See, I'm not trumping anything. I admit it. Now, has my opinion changed since then? Of course.
Yes.
And that's what happens.
Would you like to flip or flop the last comment?
No, I forgot what I was going to say now.
Yeah, of course you did.
Wait, no. Stop. I got it now.
Kelly Bundy.
Don't get me confused with Linda. Stop it. Now listen, here's the thing. I get frustrated and I lash out because we have to edit, screen, bleep the comments we get. Mm-hmm. They are mean and malicious. Yes. Some are. When people threaten to punch you in the face, I mean, at one point I would have defended you. Now it's like, go ahead. But I mean, that's why I get irritated because of the way the question and the statements are presented.
Our next comment comes from a YouTube user by the name of the RCWR Show, who says, in reference to Feedback Friday, that was solid. Can't believe some fans are picking on Hero and his alliance towards the WWE. Been watching these guys for some years now, and I can tell you, when the E does something not on point, Hero is on top of that.
That's even better. And that's true. When I used to just be negative about everything in wrestling. Mm-hmm. Remember that a few years ago?
I remember that last week.
I nitpicked everything, but it's like I have to now look at it completely different. I can't look at it like, okay, it's one episode. I have to think, okay, how is this going to grow for the next 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months?
Episodic television.
It is episodic. We're not happy with every episode of, I'm sure there were Golden Girls shows you weren't happy with, right?
The first season of both Golden Girls and Seinfeld are difficult to get through sometimes.
But you worked through it, and look what happened. Mm-hmm. Both became iconic. Mm-hmm. See? Patience.
It is called episodic television.
Yes, it is.
So episodes lead into the overall story of the plot that is being hatched, if you will. But not everybody agreed, though, David Hero, with your comments last week, as those two did. Mm-hmm. User by the name of Joseph Hatcher. Very and good to see a real name out there. And I quote, David Hero, quit insulting the fans. We have a right to like what we like, and you know what? I agree with Damian Nelson. He is more serious and he is better than you, and Nelson is better, and you know what? I wish you still weren't on here. Wow. Why would someone say that?
Because they're an idiot. Do you think I care what Hatcher says? I mean, really? Because I speak the honest truth.
The way you see it.
What have I been wrong about?
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying everyone speaks the truth the way they see it. You're speaking the truth the way you see it.
But I'm right. That's the difference. And he thinks you're better than me?
That's what he said.
Come on.
I mean, I don't get to talk to the truck.
You can like what you like, and that's fine. But you don't get it. That's the thing.
Why do you need two phones?
Well, this one's for the truck.
Yes.
Okay. And this is how I get hold of Miss Betty.
And what does she do for you again?
Well, you'll see it on the expense report.
Want to see us address your comment on Feedback Friday? Simply subscribe to the PWR channel right here on YouTube and then comment on our videos. Each week we select the most thought-provoking comments and share them right here on Feedback Friday, so be sure to subscribe now. When we come back, folks, we share your comments on last week's Primetime and Primetime Extra, and we have a preview of tomorrow's Primetime with Road Warrior Animal joining us as we kick off the March to Mania.
Biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash presents Shenanigans Dallas. Join Nash and friends including Billy Gunn, Mean Gene Okerlund, Al Snow, ODB, and more for a VIP party event Friday, April 1st. Party with the biggest stars of wrestling in downtown Dallas to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Don't miss Shenanigans Dallas, hosted by Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday for March 4th,
that
2016.
Last one, I mean, we read it, and I read it along with you, like picture pages kind of stuff. Ooh, can we mention Cosby on the show?
Why not?
Just curious.
He hasn't been indicted.
And you know what's funny is when we get these comments and, they take their shots at me, and that's cool,
Why don't they ever take shots at me? I'm loved out there.
I think it's not politically correct to take shots at a black guy. But it's okay to shoot the Arab American, huh? Is that what it is? That's what it is.
Last week on Primetime, ladies and gentlemen, we discussed the return of Shane McMahon.
Stop. Listen, but here's the thing. It's like...
You might want to... The truck's calling you, by the way.
Miss Betty can handle that one. Just wait. If you're gonna... My name is in the front here the entire show, okay?
Most of it.
It's 2 R's. What? I mean, if you want to call me H-E-R-O, that's
spell
cool.
check. A lot of people watch on their mobile devices, and spell check will change your hero name to a hero.
That last guy, that was sent in on a pigeon, written in crayon, in wide-ruled loose-leaf paper.
You're a narrow-ruled guy?
Huh?
Narrow-ruled guy?
Of course, I'm very...
What about when you were submitting papers in school? Wide-ruled, for sure.
I never did that.
Last week on Primetime, ladies and gentlemen, we discussed the return of Shane McMahon to WWE and the possibilities at WrestleMania in his Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker. We also discussed some of the backlash from the fans on this announced matchup. A couple of your comments regarding that. A user by the name of Black Star says, and I quote, "If Undertaker accepts," which he did on Monday, "even though everything Shane said was true, doesn't that make Taker a heel?"
No. It's Undertaker. It's his match. It's a Hell in a Cell. The object of the match is to what? Win.
Yeah.
To win. Taker wants to win. Mm-hmm. How is he the heel? Someone goes into a cage with Undertaker, you should expect to get your ass beat. Right?
I would say so, yes. We had a response to that comment, actually, more follow-up from a user by the name of Rainmen11, who says, and I quote, "Exactly, which is why I don't get why Vince chose The Undertaker in this case. Why would The Undertaker be fighting for the Authority? Bray Wyatt would have made much more sense to me."
See, here's the thing. I'm going to say it again. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Quit thinking too much into it. He's not fighting for the Authority. He is under contract to the WWE. They put together matches all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So that would be like, well, why does Ryback have to fight Bray Wyatt? Why does Big Show have to fight Kane? It's because that's how the promoter puts the match together. Taker isn't fighting for the Authority. He's doing his job.
As he pretty much said on this past Monday on Raw.
Exactly. So that is why wrestling fans are miserable.
Some.
Most.
A lot.
Okay. Because you overthink. He's not...
So you're saying we should just sit back and enjoy what this spectacle will be at WrestleMania?
Don't be so concerned about what happens in 1 3-hour night. Mm-hmm. Okay? Bits and pieces, yes. Be excited or not, but don't overthink. It's a story that takes time to unravel and to be told. It's called psychology.
Folks, we also discussed the main event match between Triple H and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and we both had a lot of praise for Roman Reigns, both David and I. Well, some of you agreed, but most of you disagreed. And case in point, user by the name of Rakeem Beck said, and I quote, "A part of the reason Reigns is badly received is how he was presented as a single star. He had several weeks of bad promos. The material he was given was not dynamic. Inside the ring, he has definitely improved. However, his charisma and connection with the fans just isn't there yet. Roman hasn't connected with the fans how his Shield brethren have. Even Seth Rollins, with his injury, garnered more respect and hyped his return than Reigns, and Seth was a heel. I don't think it has anything to do with flips. Roman does have a great vertical leap, though. It's with his character not having good development on the show and not creating his connection before he became champion."
Here's my thing. Not the thing, but here's my thing on Roman Reigns. he is over with an audience. The only problem is there's so many grown men booing, you can't hear the women and children cheering. That's the problem. A lot of people, there's a lot of merchandise of Roman Reigns being sold. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why he's had
a lot more than another guy who was in the Shield.
Dean Ambrose, yes, and more than Seth Rollins, who's obviously
well. I mean, it's not there.
And you know, the WWE had the most revenue ever last year, and those were with house shows either headlined by John Cena or by Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. So obviously, people are paying to see Roman Reigns. It's just that the vocal minority is so freaking loud, you can't hear everybody else cheer for him.
Folks, we also had some tremendous comments from YouTube users by the name of Paulo Rogue, Bajet Delect, and Z Squaresoft, along with Catafrex123, Catafrex123. So you can read all of their comments and even share your own by subscribing to us on YouTube and checking out the comments on last week's episodes. Thanks for all of your comments on our shows, and we're looking forward to your comments this week. And that's it for this week's Feedback Friday, David Hero. We're going to roll it over to Linda now.
You survived. How about that?
You know, you did good.
You're going to roll over to Linda?
I said we're going to roll over to Linda right now,
okay.
Yes.
That's how you get yourself in trouble with comments like that.
Be sure to download the free Fight TV app on your smartphone so you can stream content from PWR, ROH, and many more right to your Wi-Fi TV with no wires and no boxes. Fight TV is available for free in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Be a part of Feedback Friday by heading over to PWRshow.com and sending us your feedback or commenting on the stories on the site. Also be sure to interact with PWR on social media. Follow at PWR Show on Twitter and on Facebook at facebook.com/PWR Show. We'll see you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. on Primetime TV with a special look at The Undertaker's return to Raw on Monday and how his comments may shape the match at Mania. We also have all the hot news from WWE, TNA, ROH, and NXT, along with DWHS and our special guest, Road Warrior Animal. That's Primetime tomorrow at 10 p.m. on My24 Milwaukee, YouTube, Fight TV, and PWRshow.com. We look forward to seeing you then.